All right, we are breaking down tonight's vote to see how it impacts us with Josh Ryan. He's an associate professor at Utah State University's Political Science Department, joining us live via Zoom. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Sure.
All right, Josh, we want to start off with what are the key takeaways from this bill?
The key takeaways are that President Biden and Speaker McCarthy, the leader of the Republicans in the House, both have something to claim that they've won. McCarthy got some spending cuts. Most importantly, or an important point for Republicans, is they reduced spending for the IRS, which had been a sort of sticking point for them. On the other hand, President Biden was able to manage the spending cuts, and he really can sort of claim a political victory. It looks like Congress and the president are going to avoid a debt default.
Weigh in, if you could, on the flip side of that, though, because we also had members from both sides saying that their leaders went too far in making concessions on this. Could there be some fallout based on that?
Yes, both liberal Democrats and conservative Republicans are not happy with this. And this is actually pretty typical when this has happened in the past. This happened in 2011, a very similar situation. Progressive Democrats, liberal Democrats believe that the spending cuts are too deep, and some of their favored policy programs are going to be drawn back by this compromise. Conservative Republicans, on the other hand, don't believe that the spending cuts went far enough. So we see sort of extremists on both sides who are sort of dissatisfied with this compromise.
All right, Josh, and now this goes to the Senate. Tell me, what do we watch out for at this point?
It's expected to pass the Senate, though we're going to see some of the same sort of procedural hurdles that we saw in the House. There's going to be debate about it. There's going to be attempts by some senators, potentially including our own Senator Mike Lee, who said he's going to try to introduce some amendments to try to derail the bill. But most senators are likely to support the bill in its current form, meaning it will pass the Senate eventually and go to the president for his signature.
Josh, you already brought up the impact of what we saw play out with the process. We had a Democratic president and a Republican House Speaker coming together on a compromise. That's not necessarily the status quo we see in Washington, but they also cut it really close to the deadline of defaulting. Talk about that strategy and really the consequences that could have come had they not come up with this compromise.
Yeah, the important thing here is that both parties sort of posture, the leadership of both parties posture right up until the deadline. They're both hoping to sort of receive the best bargain from their point of view. So they tend to cut it very, very close. The risk, of course, when you do that is you cut it too close or something goes wrong, as almost happened today with the first vote that occurred in the House, and the package ends up not passing, and we see a default. Most economists, most political scientists believe that a default would be disastrous for the economy, would cause a spike in interest rates, potentially push the economy into recession. So it's most economists and most political scientists think that's to be avoided almost at all costs, which they probably are going to manage to do with, 2 or 3 days to spare.
All right, Josh, we really appreciate your time here today. Josh Ryan, associate professor at Utah State University's Political Science Department. Thank you for your time and just really shedding light on what this means for all of us here at home. Thanks so much, Josh.
Yeah, great insight.
Thank you.